April showers bring May flowers? Well, we'll see because it is about to get busy. We have many storms expected this week in Texas, and some of them are going to be rowdy. Let's talk about it in this Monday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Good morning, it's Monday, the 31st of March, 2025. The month is going out like a lamb. Guess what? We don't have any super spooky weather expected in Texas today, outside of fire danger. That all changes tomorrow, and especially tomorrow night. Now, this is going to be one of these long videos, I suspect. So what we're going to do is we are going to chapterize this. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, we'll have chapters inserted in, so you'll be able to scroll through and to which sections you want to watch. But this is going to be a long video. We do have a lot to talk about. So let's go ahead and get into it. Those of you who were around in the olden days may remember we used to show the 500 millibar chart quite frequently. Well, guess what? I'm doing it again. Here is the winds at 500 millibars. That's about 18,500 feet above sea level, halfway up the atmosphere. This is a good way to look at the upper levels, just to see what kind of stormy mischief we might have in the overall weather pattern. Well, the reason I'm showing you this today, besides being a nerd, is you might notice as this restarts, we get into an active pattern beginning tomorrow night. Wednesday, still active pattern. Thursday, still active pattern. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, still active pattern. That upper level jet stream, the southern branch of the jet stream, just sits right over us. And with that, we're going to have upper level impulses pretty much moving across the state every day, beginning Tuesday, especially Tuesday night, and continuing through at least Saturday, which means we're going to have 5 days of severe thunderstorm potential, 5 days of heavy rain potential, and 5 days and nights of weather mischief. I'm saying days as generic as possible because it is entirely possible I'm going to be doing tornado coverage at 3 in the morning, Wednesday and Thursday, depending on what all happens. It's going to be one of these very dynamic weeks where we're going to have a lot of juice in place for thunderstorms. And with that, we may be dealing with nighttime severe weather threats, while some of the days may actually be relatively quiet. Tomorrow, for example. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's take a look at the high-res rapid refresh model. This is going to be for today, tonight, into Tuesday. Now, today is going to be a beautiful day, mostly sunny across the state. Quite nice after a couple days of active weather. Tomorrow, things get cloudy. We're going to have fog southern to southeastern third of Texas. Notice this model is showing us remaining dry tomorrow afternoon and evening. Now, what I want to preface here is tomorrow morning, probably most of tomorrow afternoon, I do expect it to remain dry. We're going to have strong southerly winds across the eastern two-thirds of the state, with moisture being advected north from the Gulf. As that occurs, we're going to see dew point values rise, humidity values rise. It's going to become an increasingly muggy day. That will continue into Tuesday evening. Some model data is suggesting we're going to bust the cap with 1 or 2 severe storms late tomorrow afternoon east of the dryline in parts of northwest Texas, the Big Country, the Concho Valley. It's about a 25% chance of happening. So in all likelihood, we're going to stay quiet through tomorrow afternoon. The issue here is going into tomorrow night. Tomorrow evening, after sunset tomorrow night, we're going to see upper level lift increase. We may actually see severe storms erupt late tomorrow evening east of that dry line and push northeast through a pretty volatile environment across parts of the Big Country, northwest Texas, Texoma, North Texas, up in Oklahoma. I'm going to show you the risk map in a minute, but I just want to emphasize that it's quite possible we're not this quiet as this model shows late tomorrow evening. So let's get into it. Severe weather outlook. This is going to be for essentially Tuesday evening through 7 a.m. Wednesday. Again, we may see a storm or two fire up tomorrow afternoon east of the dryline. If that happens, it's going to be throwing out bowling ball size hail, 70-mile-an-hour winds, maybe a tornado. It's spring. Most storms are going to be throwing out bowling ball size hail. Going into tomorrow night and Wednesday morning, as upper level lift increases, we may see scattered semi-discrete supercells or a broken line of storms fire up as far south as the Concho Valley. up in Oklahoma. It's not guaranteed. I want to emphasize this is a conditional threat on storms actually developing. But if storms develop, the overall environment tomorrow night through the night, and I want to emphasize, yes, that means at 3 a.m. Wednesday, will be supportive of storms producing baseball-size hail, winds over 70 miles an hour, and yeah, the possibility of maybe a tornado or two. At this point, the higher tornado risk with storms looks to be up in Oklahoma and Kansas. But it's not impossible in Texas. Of course, if we don't have storms, this is going to be a moot point. But it's something we need to watch for, because if we have storms, the environment is going to support all sorts of uh-oh spaghetti-o moments if that happens. Now, the good news is, in terms of timing, we still have a day and a half to work this out. If it becomes apparent by tomorrow afternoon that the atmosphere is going to remain capped, a lid on the atmosphere, we'll be able to say adios omazawabiderzane to this little issue and sleep all happily and merrily. If vice versa happens, well, expect all sorts of pretty colors to start popping up on this map. Going into Wednesday, the risk for scattered severe storms. Texoma, North Texas, East Texas, with several severe storms possible in Northeast Texas. This is for the afternoon and evening, Wednesday into Thursday morning. More storms, another potential night event, going into Wednesday night, Thursday morning. All modes of severe weather possible, large hail to very large hail, damaging winds, maybe some tornado threat. Oh, and guess what? If you think that's it, nope, here's Thursday. More storms Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, because we're going to have a cool front moving southeast, and it's going to stall out near the Red River on Wednesday, and it's going to sit its happy self there through Saturday, meaning it's going to be a focal point for more thunderstorm development going into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So heavy storms with heavy rain. Some of those storms are going to be severe with big hail, strong winds, maybe some tornado threat. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, into Saturday. And this is as far out as the severe weather outlook goes right now, but we're probably going to have Friday and Saturday put on this at some point too. Now, let's take a look real quick on the dry side of the system, western third of the state, at least going through early this week. That looks to change as we get into the weekend, but for today, high to very high fire danger across the western third of the state. Tuesday and Wednesday could be very high to extreme wildfire danger, especially Tuesday. Panhandle, West Texas, the Permian Basin, the Guadalupe Mountains, the Trans-Pecos, the Davis Mountains, the Big Bend, the borderland of far west Texas. High to very high fire danger, western half of the state. So, with that being said, tomorrow has the potential of also being very windy. Eastern half of the state, south winds, western third of the state, west winds with blowing dust. Yay. And then Wednesday, similar story for the western third of the state. And then we're going to calm down later this week as rain chances increase across all of the state, hopefully. Here is the longer range American Weather Model Global Forecast System. Now, as you can see, by Wednesday afternoon, this thing's got some storms across the eastern third of the state. Oh, and for good measure, guess what? Storms western third of the state. Going into Thursday, same thing. Notice this thing does have storms continuing Wednesday night to Thursday. Thursday afternoon, more scattered storms, eastern, northeastern Texas, and the western third of the state. That's more rain back out west. Notice as we go into Thursday, Friday, and even into Saturday, it's looking wet across the state of Texas. We'll have to fine-tune the specifics, but you can see a big old blob of rain. In fact, this is probably the rainiest look we've seen maybe so far this year across most of the state. It's definitely been quite a while, since January at least. This model does indicate, depending on the track of a surface low and the upper-level storm features, we may even see some snow mix in the Panhandle and West Texas. Maybe. If features are a little further north, that'll keep the snow in New Mexico, Colorado, Kansas, and we'll just get more storms and rain, the warmer side of the system, with probably more severe weather potential. But clearly, we have rain chances Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday, Thursday night, Friday, Friday night, Saturday, maybe even into Saturday night across a decent chunk of the state of Texas. Now, it's not going to be raining every single moment of every single day in every single location, but clearly it's going to rain, which is good. A lot of us outside the Rio Grande Valley who have had enough rain for the next 3 months need the rain. And this is exactly what we want to see. This is good news. We don't want the hail, we don't want the wind, we don't want the tornadoes, and we don't want the flooding. Yeah, we're going to have to deal with flooding later this week. But this will help our drought, and this will probably put a pretty quick end to the fire season across several regions of Texas. So, here's the forecast rain totals. This is through Friday evening. Keep in mind, we're going to have more rain on Saturday. At this point, Tuesday night through Friday night, 3 to 6 inches of rain, the Arklatex, with more rain on Saturday. The potential for 2 to 4 inches of rain, Texoma, North Texas. More rain on Saturday. 1 to 2 inches of rain, Northwest Texas, the Big Country, the Concho Valley, Central Texas, the Northern Hill Country, and the East Texas. More rain on Saturday. The potential for about half an inch of rain. Panhandle, West Texas, Permian Basin, maybe up to 3/4 of an inch of rain. All right, more rain on Saturday. Looking at 1/2 to 1 inch of rain. The Hill Country, Brazos Valley, more rain on Saturday. And then at this point, the only folks who don't really look to get much rain, the Big Bend, and somewhat fortuitously, the Rio Grande Valley and the Rio Grande Plain, South Texas, and the Coastal Bend. Which, honestly, for y'all, that's good news. The Big Bend needs rain, yes. Deep South Texas, y'all need a break. So this is actually good news for y'all. The rest of the state needs the rain, and that is where the rain looks to be. And again, we're going to have more rain on Saturday. So as we get into Thursday and then especially Friday and Saturday, soils across the northeastern third of the state are going to be saturated. We're going to have a few inches of rain by then. Some of y'all are going to have more than that because we're going to have multiple heavy storms. Flooding risk is going to increase. We're going to start seeing flash flooding. Water on roads, typical issues with a heavy rain, especially in urban zones, construction zones on roads. We're going to see rises on creeks and streams. Now, most of the lakes should have plenty of room for that, so I'm not really too worried about lakes at this point. Rivers are going to rise, streams and creeks, faster rises, so it's spring. It's about to be April. This is normal for April. I mean, for those asking, is it this normal to have so much rain and storm chances? Yeah, it is. And for those of you new to Texas, this is our spring severe weather season. Now, we can deal with severe weather any month of the year. We've dealt with tornadoes the day after Christmas. I've done tornado coverage on New Year's Day before. But typically, we are the busiest, most frequently busy in April and May, sometimes March and June. So, gear up. Temperatures today, northern 2/3 of the state, well, we're looking at mostly 60s and 70s with 80s and 90s across the southern third of the state of Texas. Not bad. Tomorrow, we're all warming back up. We're back into the 80s and 90s statewide. On Wednesday, highs 60s in the northwestern panhandle, 102 in Del Rio and Laredo, with about 105 somewhere in between. Thursday, 90s South Texas, 80s southern half of the state, 60s, 70s, low 80s northern third of the state. And then on Friday, you can see cooler weather moving into the panhandle, highs in the 40s and 50s, 60s northwestern third of the state, 70s, 80s, 90s southeastern 2/3 of the state. I'm not focusing too much on the temperatures here because, frankly, you can just download the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app and get your local weather forecast with temperatures for the next 7 days for your community. Okay, so after this, the Weather Prediction Center is indicating a pretty decent chance of actually below average temperatures for at least the next 6 to 10 days, perhaps the 2-week time frame. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be freezing, but it does indicate that we're probably about to take a bit of a break in terms of dealing with 90s and triple digits across the state. With that, at least going into the weekend and next week, we may remain active in the precipitation department, maybe some drier weather for the middle half of next week. We'll just have to wait and see. But clearly, we are about to get really busy this week with multiple chances of severe storms, the potential for some heavy rains, beneficial rains, though. That doesn't guarantee we're going to have significant severe weather or tornadoes, but there is some potential there with a lot of caveats. Which I know most of you are like, well, that's not very specific. Well, that's because I'm purposely not being specific because I simply don't know. Like Tuesday night, for example, could go from either way. Literally, could be quiet and windy, and I'm getting a nice night of sleep. To I'm doing tornado coverage at 2 in the morning with storms dropping baseball size hail in parts of the big country, Northwest Texas, Texoma, and Western North Texas. Literally, we just don't know yet. The science isn't that good. So, it's going to be a good week to stay weather aware, and that's what we're going to be here for, giving you that information here at the Texas Storm Chasers. You can get your local weather forecast, interactive weather radar, daily Texas weather roundups, and live severe weather coverage with notifications in the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. Just search for Texas Storm Chasers where you download apps to your device. Interactive weather radar and weather blog on our website, texasstormchasers.com, if you prefer a more written format. And of course, we are active here on the YouTube channel, David Reimer, Texas Weather Center. And we have storm chasing content on the Texas Storm Chasers YouTube channel. And of course, we're all over social media. So that is going to be it for your Monday Texas Weather Roundup. Enjoy the less active weather today before we gear up for a busy week ahead. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate all the feedback. If you enjoyed the content, hit that thumbs up button. Even if you don't like the forecast, it does help us in magical YouTube algorithm land. You can also click subscribe if you want to get notified when we publish new videos and go live for dangerous Texas storms. It's all free. All right, that's it. Y'all have a great day. We'll talk to you later. God bless.